Hello, I'm Romain Péchou from L'Oréal Laboratory in Nancy, France, and I'm going to present you a tier-based type programming language characterizing feasible functionals, a joint work with Emmanuel Henry and Jean-Yves Marion from L'Oréal and Bruce Capron from University of Victoria. So, our goal is to study polynomial time complexity. So, at type 1, everything is well known. There have been several tools that have been designed for program analysis. So I'm thinking to type systems such as type system based on linear logic and its variants, interpretation methods, and a lot of other techniques that has been developed by the people of the implicit computational complexity for 30 years. At type 2, we are in the setting of functions taking functions as input, and some complexity classes have been defined, and there are no tractable tools, and even no tools at all. Some programming languages with semantics restriction have been defined. I'm thinking to BTLP and ITLP from Irvine, Capron, and Royer, but the semantics restriction makes programming discipline very hard. So the goal of this talk will be to develop a static analysis technique for certifying type 2 polynomial time complexity. Type 2 polynomial time is a complexity class that has been defined by Mellon in 1976, and it has also been characterized by Cook and Urquhart in 1993. So in particular, you take a set of constant functions to be the functions computable in polynomial time at type 1, plus some particular kind of recursor defined below. And you see that by taking the simply typed lambda closure of this and restricting everything to type 2, we characterize exactly the class of functions computable in polynomial time at type 2. Another interesting characterization was provided by Cook and Capron in 1990. So the set of type 2 polynomial time computable functions is defined in terms of Oracle Turing machine, where Oracle Turing machine are just Turing machines with a special tape with an oracle, and the functions computable at type 2 in polynomial time are exactly the ones that can be computed by an OTM running in polynomial time in the size of the oracle and in the size of the input. So here the size of the oracle is the maximal output of the oracle for some bounded input. And you can see that the polynomial is type 2 polynomial. So in particular, you have type 0 variables and type 1 variables, and you can apply type 1 variables to type 0 data. One of the main open problems was how to get rid of type 2 polynomials, because type 2 polynomials are very difficult to check and to infer. And one option was suggested by Cook in 1992, so it's called Oracle Polynomial Time, OPT. So define for some given oracle phi and input A, M to be the maximal size of the input A and the maximal size of an oracle answer in the run of the machine M on oracle phi and input A. So an OTM is in OPT if his runtime is bounded by P of M for any input and for some fixed polynomial type 1 polynomial P. However, it is well known that BFE for FP2 is strictly contained in OPT because OPT contains exponential functions. Consequently, as FP2 is strictly included in OPT, one question of interest is how to recover this class using OPT. The first suggestion was made by Kawamura and Steinberg, and it is called finite length revision. So an Oracle Turing machine will have finite length revision if for any input the number of times the Oracle answer has a size bigger than the sizes of all the previous Oracle answers is bounded by a constant. So look at the two examples below. So in the first example, we have a while loop and the variable x is decreasing. And clearly, if we take a strictly decreasing function as Oracle, the number of times the Oracle size is going to increase will not be bounded by a constant. So this program has no finite length revision. On the other side, the variable is increasing, but every time we take the variable output in y, we check that y is bounded by 8. Hence, this program has a finite length revision, and the constant is 8. There was another suggestion by Capron and Steinberg called finite look-ahead revision. And now we say that an Oracle Turing machine has finite look-ahead revision if for any input the number of times a query is posed whose size exceeds the size of the previous queries is bounded by a constant. So now, instead of looking at the output, we look at the Oracle input. So take again the same programs. The one on the left now has a finite look-ahead revision with constant 0. And this one on the right has no finite look-ahead revision. So in particular, if we take the Oracle to be this constant function, then it is not bounded by a constant. Then we define the class of strongly polynomial time to be the intersection of OPT and finite length revision, and we define the class of moderately polynomial time to be the intersection between OPT and finite look-ahead revision. First, these two classes are strictly included in FP2, but there was a result by Capron and Steinberg at LEAX 2018 showing that if we take constant in these two classes and we take the simply typed lambda closure from this and restrict everything to type 2, then we recover the set of functions computable in polynomial time at type 2. So to make a summary, so we want to develop a static analysis tool for certifying type 2 polynomial time complexity. We want the tool to be tractable, so we want to get rid of the type 2 polynomials. But we want also the tool to be automatic, so in particular, we do not want to explicitly provide the polynomial, and this is why we need some kind of tool like the one developed by the implicit computational complexity. So the idea is to take such a tool and to adapt it at type 2, to combine it with the MPT technique in order to characterize type 2 polynomial time complexity. The tool we have in mind is safe recursion or Turing, and the programming language we are going to analyze is a small imperative programming language with oracles. So let's make a brief reminder about what safe recursion and Turing techniques are. Safe recursion was introduced by Bellantoni and Cook, and Turing was introduced by Levin. So the main intuition is that you take the data and you split them in two categories. tier 1 and tier 0. Tier 1 will be the one driving recursion, whereas tier 0 cannot drive recursion. And in particular, a tier 1 data can jump to a tier 0 position, but the converse cannot hold, so that you have a forbidden flow of data from 0 to 1. The theorem by Bellantoni and Cook is as follows. If you take a class of functions containing some basic functions such as constant, projection, successor, etc., and then you close them by composition and by safe recursion with using some previously defined function of the class, then you characterize exactly the class of functions computable in polynomial time at type 1. So let's start with a brief summary of the results that hold for tiering for imperative programming languages. So in particular, we take a very small imperative programming language, standard one, with assignment, while loops, conditional, sequence, and all that. And we assume that there are some basic operator inside. We still take a domain with two elements that are called tiers, and we assume that 0 is smaller than 1, strictly. Now the intuition is as follows. The tier 0 are data that may grow, but they cannot control the program flow, so the conditionals or the while loops. In opposition, tier 1 data are data that cannot grow, but they may control the program flow. The type system is inspired by non-interference-based type systems. So for most of the rule, the tier tau is preserved, but there are some particular rules to mention. For assignments, when we assign the result of an expression E to a variable x, we check that the type of x is smaller than the type of E, so that information may flow from 1 to 0, but not the converse. For an operator, we split operator in two categories, the destructor and the constructor. And when the operator is a constructor, we enforce the output tier to be 0, because the data may increase. Then, in a while loop, we enforce the tier of the guard to be 1, so that the while loop will only be driven by tier 1 data. And then let's mention that our type system has also a subtyping rule, but only for comments. So a comment of tier 0 may be typed by 1, but not the converse, and this does not hold at all for expression. So this type system has been extended to more general operators, so in particular polynomial time computable operators. So you can type an operator with tiers, but there are some safety rules to check. The first one is that if the operator is computing a predicate, then the output is smaller than the minimum tier of the input. So it prevents information to flow from a tier 0 to a tier 1. And then for any operator that is smaller than a maximum of the size of its input plus some positive constant, then we enforce the output tier to be 0. Let's consider some examples. First, addition. So here in this example, you see that the tier of y is necessarily 0 because here the data is increasing, so this expression is of tier 0, and the tier of y has to be smaller than the tier of this expression. So it's enforced to be 0. The tier of x is enforced to be 1 because here x appears in the guard of the while loop. So you can type the add program and you can give it this type. Now consider the multiplication program and assume for simplicity that we have non-recursive procedures. So Here, because of the previous example, the output of add is known to be of tier of 0. So the tier of z is smaller and is enforced to be 0. Y is enforced to be of tier 1 because it appears at the left-hand side of the add procedure. And X is enforced to be of tier 1 because it appears in the guard of the while loop. So the tier of mult is the following one. Now we consider the exponential as a counterexample. Here in this example, we know that y is of tier 1 because it is used by the add procedure. But the return type of the addition is 0, so it has also to be of tier 0, so exp cannot be type, which is kind of expected. Based on this type system, characterization of polynomial time at type 1 was obtained by Marion. So the set of functions computable in polynomial time at type 1 is exactly the set of functions computable by typable and terminating programs. This result has been presented by Marion at LIX 2011, and we have shown at FOSAX 2013 that the type inference can be done in polynomial time by a reduction to 2SAT. Now let's turn back to the imperative language with Oracle. So we want to design a type system ensuring that programs are in MPT. So we consider the same language as previously, but we add Oracle calls in expressions. So you see that in an Oracle call phi of W output V, there are two data. W is the Oracle input, and V is the Oracle input bound. So the intuition is as follows. If the size of W is smaller than the size of V, then we just have a standard call to phi on W, and the computation is done in a standard way. However, if the size of W is greater than the size of V, then we perform a truncation on W, and we will only call the Oracle on this location. So now we want to design a type system for ensuring the computed function to be in MPT. There are several observations that we can perform. So first, the look-ahead revision can be controlled by tiers. Observation 1. The problem is that you want a constant number of look-ahead revision, whereas usually in previous systems there were only 2 tiers. So the solution is use more than 2 tiers. The second observation is that a restriction on the Oracle input bound is needed to enforce the finite look-ahead revision. And this will be achieved by the introduction of a new tier that is called K out, that will keep the information on the tier of the outermost while loop guard. The third observation is that operators are in need of a more flexible treatment, because depending on the place where the operator is called, we need to be able to give a distinct type to operator. And this will be performed by the introduction of K-in that keeps track of the tier of the innermost while loop guard. So finally, judgment will be of this shape. So we have a type assignment for variables, a type assignment for operators, and every command has a triple of tiers: the tier of the command, the innermost tier, and the outermost tier. Let's start with the easy part of the type system. So if you think to the previous type system on an imperative program that I have just shown, and you forgot everything about the innermost and outermost tier, then we more or less turn back to the same type system. So we still have subtyping, and then all the other rules are similar. So let's now look at the non-trivial rules, mostly the rules for operator, the rule for oracles, and the rule for while loops. So for operators, in order to be able to type an operator, clearly the operand needs to be of the right tier, but also we have to check that the type of the operator is an admissible type with respect to the typing environment. So what does it mean? In particular, the output tier has to be smaller than the input tiers. This is standard to what we had previously on safe operators on imperative programs. But the maximal input tier has also to be smaller than the innermost tier, which will constrain the way we can use the type of operators with respect to the tier of the innermost loop where we are. And then, last condition, the output tier has to be strictly smaller than the innermost tier. And if you think to the previous case, we were asking the positive operator, so that computes some data that may increase, to have tier 0. So this is a similar and equivalent statement for a type system with more than 2 tiers. So now let's look at the oracle rule. When we type the oracle rule, we will type the oracle input in a standard way, but this will be a bit different for the oracle input bound. And in particular, we ask the tier of this oracle input bound to be the outermost tier loop. And then we look at the while loop typing rule, and we see that for the guard it's kind of standard, but we ask the tier to be greater than 1. There is no while loop for T0. And when we tier the inner command, then we update the innermost tier to K. This program tests whether there is an integer smaller than the input for which the oracle outputs 0. It is computing a function in MPT, and it is also typable, and in particular the innermost tier is equal to the outermost tier, that is equal to the tier of x1. And because y is used as oracle input data, it is enforced to be of tier strictly smaller, that is 0. Finally, we obtain the following results. Let ST be the class of typable and terminating programs. First, the soundness result. ST is included in the simply typed lambda closure of MPT, restricted to type 2. And then we have completeness results. At type 1, ST is equal to FP, and at type 2, the simply typed lambda closure of ST is equal to FP. The proof at type 1 holds by showing that Marion's type system is strictly included in ST1, while the proof of completeness at type 2 is shown by simulating a variant of the OR recursion scheme introduced previously. So we have presented two characterizations of polynomial time at type 1 and type 2, and the one at type 2 is a strict natural extension of the one at type 1. The corresponding type system has a type inference that is decidable in polynomial time, and in particular, the termination requirement can be specialized to some decidable termination criterion, such as the side change principle. There are still open issues, so how to get rid of the lambda closure, what termination techniques can we combine with our technique, Are there other extensions to improve the expressive power as we have false negatives? So let me thank you for your attention.